Good afternoon. This is Ed Pozzuoli, CEO of Tripp Scott, and today we have another edition of our Tripp Scott webcast, and we're here to welcome our friend Steve Moore. Steve, welcome.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
Steve, I mean, you're well recognized. The Heritage Foundation, Wall Street Journal, the tax plan that Trump put forth. Today, we're talking about the shutdown. It looks like we're going to get a deal in the next day or two. What economic impact does it have?
Well, I probably lived through about 14 of these shutdowns over the last 40 years in Washington. This is one of the dumbest ones. It was so needless, really. And it's done a lot of damage to the economy. We've lost billions of dollars of output. I was in the airports this past weekend, and everybody's flights are canceled, delayed. People couldn't get from point A to point B. A lot of the agencies were shut down. So it was a big headache, and nothing really came of it, really. I mean, Trump, I think, kind of prevailed in saying he's not going to cave in to these hostage demands that Chucky Schumer made. I mean, Schumer made a calculation that because Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House, that they would be blamed for this. And look, people will blame whoever they want to. I think both parties are responsible for it, but I think it was almost like he wanted to inflict pain on people to score political points, and I think that's sort of shameless.
Maybe to protect his left.
Yes.
On his left wing.
For sure.
Yeah. The Democrats made a point about affordability, which I find kind of ironic given the fact that we had 9% inflation under Biden just a couple of years ago. But they're talking about health care. And healthcare costs have skyrocketed. And their solution obviously is to continue to have the government fund Obamacare subsidies. That seemed to be the crux of some of what they were saying around the shutdown. What say you on that?
I think the real lesson of this shutdown that I hope the Americans kind of realize as we look back on the last month is the teachable moment should be Obamacare was a fraud. It has destroyed our healthcare system. Costs are completely out of control. You remember what was the original title of that bill?
The Affordable Health Care.
Yeah, and it's done just the opposite.
Right.
It's become more unaffordable. People are looking at 15, 18, 20, 25% increases in their premiums next year. Either the taxpayer is going to have to pay for that or families are going to have to pay for it. I think there's more dysfunction in the way we pay for health care. We could provide better quality of care to the American people at half the cost, in my opinion, if we just let the market work, but we don't.
In other words, government intervention, the more government intervention, the higher costs go?
Yeah, especially because, we all use the healthcare system.
Right.
When's the last time when you go see a doctor or when you go, when you have to go to the hospital, do you ever ask what it's going to cost?
No.
No. It's the only thing, think about it, it's the only thing that we buy where we don't ask what it's going to cost. And so,
nor do a comparative shop on cost either.
Right. And if people would, you have places where an MRI will cost $500, and the hospital down the street it's $5,000. Now, if you had people, being cost-conscious consumers, they say, well, if I go to this one, it's going to cost this much. But people never ask the question, and the doctors don't know nobody knows what anything costs in this. And then you get your bill. One of the things I'm really into is the idea of having everything should be price transparency. Trump is really into this.
Right.
Hospitals, doctors, drug companies, they should tell you what these things are going to cost. Same thing with prescription drugs. You get one pharmacist, he says this drug's going to cost you $600, the other one $100. Why?
But the subsidies that seem to be the crux of the Democratic argument on the shutdown, or the basis, or one of the bases why they shut this down for a while. Do the subsidies go to lower cost, or do they simply go to the managed care insurance companies?
Mostly the latter. So this is the great scandal in the healthcare system right now, is that the people who've made the most money off of Obamacare and have really gotten rich off this are the insurance companies, because it's just free money to them, and they've been lobbying like crazy. They were the biggest lobby in Washington to keep all the subsidies, the Obamacare subsidies, because by some estimates, 50 to 70% of that money went right into the profits of the insurance companies.
So let me switch gears a little bit, and we talked a little bit before about some of Trump's tariff policies. Over the long range, do you see them working out?
Hopefully. It's a little too early to say. We've got a big Supreme Court decision that's going to be decided. I think that the betting is that Trump will lose in court, and then that's going to cause a lot of turmoil when that happens. So I've always said this, that I don't like Trump's tariffs, but I like the trade deals that he's getting. And he's used these tariffs as a way to get leverage to get other countries to give us a better deal.
Art of the deal, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Perfect. But it has caused a lot of, I do think the economy would be growing at a brisker pace if it weren't for the tariffs, because there are a lot of, middle-sized manufacturers that are having a tough time getting their equipment their supplies. Our economy is so hyper efficient because of just-in-time inventory, all these things. Well, it's hard to do that when you don't know what the price of copper is going to be next week. You don't know, the prices are adjusting. So it has had a bit of a negative effect. And the question is this short-term pain for long-term gain? Maybe.
So Steve, we're sitting in Fort Lauderdale between Miami and Palm Beach, and we did have an election last week where New York City elected a new mayor. That's going to have a direct impact on our economy down here in Florida. What's your thought on the election of Mamdani?
Well, first of all, what's happening in America, and it's not necessarily a good thing, but the blue states are getting bluer and the red states are getting redder. So Florida has imported, just in the last 10 years, 2 million people. That's a lot of people, and they're bringing a lot of money with them, too. You've got a lot of billionaires.
We call them blue state refugees.
Exactly.
Right.
And they come with a lot of, you've probably imported 10, 20 billionaires in just the last few years, and they're coming with their purchasing power, their employees, their businesses. So there's no state that has benefited more from this interstate migration than Florida has. New York is, New York City is, in my opinion, the most important city in the world. It has 8 million people. It is supposed to be the financial capital of our country. It has been for the last 250 years. But I think it's very much in danger now. I think you might see Wall Street move to Dallas, or maybe Wall Street moves to Miami. Capital moves to where it's most nicely treated. And you could pay 14% income tax in New York, or you can pay 0 here in Florida, or 0 in Texas, or 0 in Tennessee. So I hope Mamdani becomes a little wiser and doesn't do some of the more crazy things that he's talking about. Free grocery stores, free this, free that. The government running the grocery stores, that's like right out of the old Soviet Union. It doesn't make any sense. So hopefully, cooler heads will prevail. But we're going to see firsthand what happens when you put a socialist in office.
He did quote Eugene Debs in his acceptance speech.
He did.
For those of you who don't remember who that is, that was a socialist candidate back in the 40s.
Was it the 40s?
The 30s and 40s, and I found that amazing.
Well, he made a statement that really made me cringe when he won the election. He said, "There is no problem in America that is too big for government to solve." That's, of course, exactly the opposite of what Ronald Reagan said when he said, government big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take everything you've got. And so there's this new leftist kind of idea that government is good, and look, government is you need government. I'm not a anarchist, but you want to keep it in its place, and you want the free enterprise system to work. And if you tax something, you get less of it. And boy, is New York going to figure that out.
Well, whether it's free enterprise from a business standpoint or personal liberties from a rights standpoint, it seems to me big government has a way of infringing or imposing its will on those things.
Well, this is an important point that I think a lot of people are missing, is that if you look at the great tragedies of the 20th century, whether it's Mao or Hitler or Stalin or Pol Pot,
they were pretty big governments.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They, and by the way, they all came in with smiley faces, and it's going to be wonderful, and we care about the working class, and of course, those are the people who got pounded. So maybe this is another moment for Americans to see firsthand when you put socialism in practice.
What do you think it has on the economy of Florida?
The
election of Mamdani. What do you think?
I think there will be a lot more people coming here. You've had we had a little cartoon in our little newsletter, Unleash Prosperity, that people can get. Just go to unleashprosperity.com and get it for free. But it was, welcome to Florida. And then it says below the, welcome to Florida sign, it says, we're all filled up.
Right.
So, you've had a lot of people come. No vacancy, right? But there's still a lot of room for a lot of growth. And this is a great state. It's not just the sunshine. You know, it's amazing people, amazing. It's a very multicultural state with great universities. What's not to like?
I saw the cartoon that had, the top realtor in Florida, and it had a picture of Mendami. Well, last point, Steve. Are you bullish on the U.S. economy overall?
Yeah, I am.
Why?
Yeah, because Trump is pro-business. He's pro-free enterprise. He makes mistakes. I don't always agree with everything Trump does. He gets mad at me when I don't. But I think that he is instinctively gets how things work, and he's working his ass off to get it done. That's the other thing. I mean, we got a guy
No one works harder.
24/7 working for the American people. I mean, contrast that with Joe Biden. I'm not saying this is slur. He just wasn't physically up for the job. And Trump, and it's funny because their age difference isn't that great,
right.
And yet Trump acts like he's 40 years old, and Biden acts like he's 100 years old.
Right. But
I've never seen anybody in my life with more energy than Donald Trump. He does not slow down. You know, there's no slow speed with Trump.
And so you believe over time we'll get better trade deals, hopefully.
Yeah.
That
Well,
the
look,
regulatory yoke of the federal
Yes.
government will pull off, and
I mean,
business will do business.
You got the pro-American energy policy. It's driving down energy costs, which is like a big tax cut.
Right.
It's a lot of jobs. We did about $1 trillion of deregulation, and we've only started with that. And then, Elon Musk, what he did, now he only got that started with the Doge, but there's so much waste and inefficiency in government. He started to peel back that onion. And then you got the tax cut. And don't kid yourself, that's huge. We're letting businesses write off their business expenses immediately if they build a factory or invest in machinery, equipment, research. So and we're also, the other thing is we are so far the leader in technology. No other country has a Silicon Valley. No other country has, an Austin, Texas, where amazing things are happening. And no other country has the incredible entrepreneurial spirit of the United States. It's so interesting too, because when people come from China, or a lot of our entrepreneurs are the immigrants who come in from other countries, from Cuba or whatever, and they just do so well in the United States. I just add on saying, the other day I took a Uber, and the Uber driver was a black guy, and I asked him, where are you from? Because he spoke with an accent. I said, I'm Somalia. How do you like it here? Oh, yeah, it's great. I have all these opportunities, and et cetera. And then, we were talking about, kind of joking around a little bit about Trump and immigration and stuff. And he said, Steve, there's something that you all Americans don't understand. And I said, what is that? And he said, everybody in the world wants to come to the United States. It's true. We are still the land of opportunity. Even if Americans don't believe that, foreigners do.
I think that's a great place to end.
Yeah.
Steve Moore, thank you for sharing your time with us, and always appreciate your friendship. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Always good.
All right.